Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today we're taking a look at this one right here, John Varvatos XX Artisan, which is part of their 20th anniversary fragrance releases that they did. I did a first impression on this fragrance maybe a month ago, I don't remember. But now we're gonna do the full review. We're gonna take a look at that presentation. I'm gonna break this one down for you and let you know what I think about it. When I did the first impression, I thought, man, it's not too bad. So have things changed for the better or the worse? I'll let you know that. Lots to talk about. Let's jump into it. What do you say we go ahead and take a look at the presentation first? The box just fell off my table, but now I have it back. So here is the box. On the front, you've got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration, and other than this, it's pretty plain. There's nothing at the top, nothing on the sides, and nothing on the back. They really just went minimalistic other than that design right on the front. And then on the bottom, flip it around, you've got your ingredients right here and your barcode. Now your batch code is pressed into the box underneath the barcode, but it's pretty hard to see. And that full batch code for the batch code followers out there, N20721A. And here's a good look at the bottle. Now, I actually really do like the way that this bottle looks. So it's got this silver finish on the bottle, and then this basket weave that goes all the way around. It looks like it's been spray painted, but in a classy way. And that's gonna remind you, of course, of the other fragrances in the Artisan line that have that sort of basket weave motif. The one that this resembles most would be Artisan Pure, but the basket weave on this is actually a little bit thicker than it is on Artisan Pure. Not that that matters. Now, I bought mine from Macy's at full retail. One thing that you'll notice with this, and I'll show it to you here up close, is that the cap is actually kind of crooked and it won't go down all the way properly. So I don't know how well this comes across, but this is pushed down as hard as I can get it, and the cap still is not actually really down all the way. So that's an extremely minor thing, but over here, it's basically flush with the top of the bottle, and then over here on the other side, it's raised by maybe a millimeter. So again, not really a big deal, but figured I'd let you know. And then on the bottom, you've got a sticker with your batch code. I'll go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you guys. There we go. Atomizer is like all the others on the Varvatos Artisan line. It's really nice. Now this one retails $74 for 2.5 ounces or $94 for 4.2 ounces, which is what I have right here. So I paid 94 bucks for this one. Of course, here in the near future, it should show up at discounters for less. Obviously, I don't know when that will be, but that's how it usually / always goes. Now with this fragrance, with it being part of the Artisan line, you'd probably think it's gonna be really fresh. And it's really not. There are fresh facets here, but it's not, you know, a citrus, fresh fragrance with aquatic facets and white florals. It's actually more of a woodsy kind of fragrance with aromatic, fresh aspects. When you first spray this one on, you get a rindy, bitter orange and a little bit of bergamot. Not a whole bunch of bergamot, more just a spritz. Mainly, you get that almost unripe, tart, bitter orange, where it does, again, smell a bit like the rind. And then very quickly, the vetiver and the musk come out in this fragrance, especially the vetiver. So you get this woodsy backbone of the scent that comes up right away. You get initially that bitter orange, that bergamot, but so fast the base notes are just like, nah man, this is my show, and they come right to the top. It's more of a dry, grassy, woody vetiver, and the fragrance, like I said before, does have freshness to it, but it's more of an aromatic, fresh, woodsy, clean kind of scent. Not at all citrusy or aquatic or sweet or anything like that. There's also this noticeable green undertone that settles in as that vetiver comes up and takes hold of the fragrance. That's gonna be partially from the vetiver, but also the wormwood that's in here and geranium. So they all kind of meld together and you get this green kind of nuance that settles in as the vetiver comes up. And that green undertone does also lend this little bit of an herbal feel to the fragrance. Not really overly so, but you can definitely pick it up, this slight herbal nuance. And it also has sort of a soapiness to it. Not a powdery soapiness, but a soapiness nonetheless. As that vetiver comes in and these other facets come in that I've talked about, it settles into being mainly just a slightly fresh, a little bit spicy, woodsy scent centered around that vetiver. The musk is there, but the vetiver is more important. And as I mentioned before, it's a dry, grassy, woodsy vetiver. It stays this way for a long time, but once you actually hit the far dry down, it does switch things up. So it stays pretty consistent from the mid through into the dry down, but once it's been on your skin for quite a while, it takes on more of a light, sort of effervescent tone with the vetiver. And it reminds me a little bit of fragrances like Bois de Vetiver from Karl Lagerfeld. Or alternatively, Tiffany in Love by Tiffany & Co. The way vetiver is used in that fragrance. In the far dry down, that's actually how it comes across in this one. And if you're not aware of how those fragrances smell, basically it comes across more like this sparkling, sort of light and fresh vetiver. Normally, it's the opposite. Fragrances are fresher initially, and then as they dry down, they get a little deeper, a little richer. They don't quite have that pop. But somehow in this one, once it dries down, and I'm talking a couple hours, few hours in, it gets lighter and poppier and fresher. So that's really kind of weird that it has this almost sparkling vetiver in the far dry down, but that's what happens on my skin. So I don't know, weird. I find this one to be a really solid office kind of fragrance, very solid casual fragrance as well. It's not altogether dissimilar from what Dolce & Gabbana did with the One Gray, where they took the One and added this vetiver and turned it into kind of an office take on the One. That smells like what they did here. They took Artisan, put in the vetiver, and tweaked it and changed it and made it into more of a like spring and fall, potentially summer also, casual or office fragrance. That's pretty much what you got here. They also did the color the same here, didn't they? Yeah, XX Artisan, and they rocked it in this gray / silver, and then Dolce & Gabbana, the One, they put in the vetiver and turned it to the One Gray, and then Tom Ford has gray vetiver. You just, put these all together. Gray equals office vetiver? Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. So let it be said that from here forth, if we see a fragrance that comes out, a new flanker, or even a new release perhaps, and they put it into a bottle that's gray or silver, and it has vetiver, we know what you're doing. Seriously though, that really pretty much is what's going on here. Like I said, spring through fall, really good choice. Daytime or nighttime use, either one in my opinion. Casual use is good, office use is good. Night out, you probably could go with something else, but if you're going to a situation that's gonna be a little bit dressier, you could potentially pull this off in the sense that vetiver fragrances that are vetiver forward do work very well in situations where you're a little bit dressed up. Overall though, it does lean a little bit more daytime use than nighttime use in my opinion. And the quality here is actually pretty good in my opinion. Overall, I really like the fragrance. I think that it maybe is somewhere in the middle of the whole Varvatos lineup. It's not one of their worst ones. It's not one of their best ones. I mean, between the two, I would say it leans more toward being one of their better releases, but it's kind of right there in the middle. That being said though, it does plug a gap. Varvatos did not have a vetiver forward, a vetiver centric fragrance, and now they do. And actually, it kind of plugs more than just one gap. If you look at Varvatos' whole lineup, they either trend very far toward the rich, warm, deep, dark side. And some fragrances are darker than others, but you can very obviously take Varvatos fragrances and be like, oh yeah, lump those over here. And then on the other side, You've got the more citric, aquatic, white floral fragrances, and those all go over here. And there's not really a whole lot in that mid ground. And this one, it fits right there in between those two sides. Now I wouldn't pay retail for it, and that's because, like I alluded to at the beginning of the video, Varvatos fragrances hit discounters and typically are discounted a good amount. So I would expect that this one, which I paid $94 for, and once it hits discounters, maybe $45, $50 initially. So you're gonna be able to save half off, I would imagine. At that price, I think it's a really solid pickup. You can use it in a whole bunch of different situations. People are gonna like the way it smells. It's not hyper unique, but it does smell of good quality and overall is a nice scent. And it's got that touch of refinement to it where it does come across a little bit more sophisticated than your normal blue fragrance or your run-of-the-mill fragrance that most guys are gonna be wearing. And it does appeal both to younger guys and potentially older guys, because it's not so heavy that somebody younger is gonna be like, oh no, can't wear that. And it's not so bubblegummy sweet that somebody middle-aged or older is gonna smell it and be like, not for me. I'd rather wear something more grown up. Kind of straddles that line between the two. Let's talk about performance really quickly and wrap this up. Longevity, 6+ hours, and that's actually really good for Varvatos. A lot of their fragrances don't last very long. This one's actually surprisingly pretty good. You would expect, with it being a Varvatos Artisan fragrance, that you'd be looking at, 4 hours, but actually a bit longer than that. Projection, average. Nothing to write home about. It's not crazy powerful. It's also not weak. It's just average. Of course, like always, if you want it to project more, you could spray more on. If you want it to project a little less and be subtle, just spray less on. Pretty simple. So there we go, guys. Varvatos XX Artisan. I actually do like it quite a bit. Surprisingly, a solid release. I thought that it was gonna be maybe not so good after a lot of those Nick Jonas releases, but this one is nice. It plugs a gap in the Varvatos lineup, and I'm a sucker for vetiver, so I like it. Let me know if you smelled that fragrance, what you think about it in the comments below. And if you have smelled it, let me know where you think it sits on the hierarchy of Varvatos fragrances. Up there toward the top, toward the bottom, in the middle, let me know. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there, and I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.